Imagine having like a secret playbook for handling life's curveballs.
Yeah.
Those emotional storms, the anxiety, the low moods. What if the most effective tools for navigating them were actually, well, already within your reach, if only someone had shown you how to use them?
Yeah, that's pretty much the compelling promise, isn't it? Right at the heart of our deep dive today into Dr. Julie Smith's best-selling book, Why Has Nobody Told Me This Before?
Right. And it's not just a bestseller.
No, exactly. It's a Sunday Times phenomenon, sold over 1 million copies. I mean, that's truly remarkable for a book on mental well-being.
Absolutely. So our mission today on the Deep Seek Diaries is really to unpack this book. It's highly acclaimed, obviously. We want to dissect its practical advice, see if it truly lives up to that promise. The whole therapist toolkit idea for optimizing your mental health, handling the ups and downs. We basically want to give you, our listener, a kind of shortcut, help you understand its core insights, its unique approach, and, well, how applicable it might actually be in your own life.
Yeah.
Think of it as your guide before you decide to dive in yourself.
Yeah, a good way to put it. And look, before we dive deeper, just a quick note. We're always hunting for these valuable resources to review for you.
Right.
So if you find this deep dive helpful, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like the video. It really helps.
It does. And you can find the Deep Seek Diaries on all the usual places: YouTube, Instagram, Facebook.
And all the resources we're talking about today, including, direct links to the book on Amazon, they're all down in the description section.
Definitely check those out. And please glance over our terms and conditions when you get a chance.
Perfect.
Okay, now, let's settle in and really explore this book.
Okay.
So let's properly unpack this. A must-have handbook for optimizing your mental health, filled with secrets from a therapist's toolkit. I mean, that's a pretty bold claim, right?
It is. It's a big promise.
What's the fundamental idea here? What's a core approach?
Well, essentially, it's about empowering you, the individual, with what Dr. Smith calls her therapist's toolkit. It takes these core strategies, things often used in actual therapy sessions, which can seem complex, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And it distills them, makes them into actionable, everyday steps. It's really about demystifying concepts that are often, hidden behind clinical jargon, making them usable.
Okay, so less jargon, more action.
Exactly. So, for instance, rather than just saying manage anxiety, she breaks down specific techniques, things like grounding exercises or cognitive diffusion, and she explains why they work, but in simple, really relatable terms.
Grounding and diffusion. Interesting. So it's not just theory, it's literally giving you the drills, the how-to.
Precisely.
And wow, it covers a huge range of topics, all presented as simple but expert advice, powerful coping techniques. We're talking managing anxiety, dealing with criticism. That's a big one. Battling low mood, building self-confidence, finding motivation, even learning to forgive yourself. Which is often overlooked, isn't it?
It really is. Crucial stuff.
It feels like a really comprehensive guide for so many of those common emotional struggles we all face.
It absolutely does. And the way it's structured, it really reinforces that practical sort of use it now philosophy.
How so?
It's written in these short bite-sized entries, almost like a quick reference guide. You can literally just turn straight to the section you need, depending on the challenge you're facing right then. You don't have to read it cover to cover first.
That's smart. Very practical. And the author herself, Dr. Julie Smith, she's a clinical psychologist, over a decade of professional experience. That's a solid foundation, isn't it? Real-world expertise.
Definitely. That's the bedrock. But what's truly remarkable, I think, is how she's used that experience to become this huge online sensation.
Right, the TikTok thing.
No.
Millions of followers.
Exactly. Millions. And her stated aim, which clearly resonates, is to make these vital mental health insights really accessible, bridging that gap between, the clinic and everyday life.
So she's not just theorizing in an ivory tower.
Not at all. She's clearly an authority, very practical approach. Recognized too, Future Shaper by Marie Claire, featured on BBC Breakfast, CNN International, places like that.
And that practicality, it seems to come through in her writing style in the book, too.
Oh, absolutely. It's her calm, insightful voice. It really shines through. She's got this knack for translating complex psychological ideas into terms that, honestly, anyone can grasp.
That's key, isn't it? Making it accessible. It sounds like she manages to make these potentially heavy topics feel more like a chat with a wise friend.
Can you give an example? Like, how does she use an analogy to make something stick?
Oh, yeah, she's brilliant at that. For instance, she talks about how our minds can get stuck in those unhelpful thought loops, right? Like a broken record.
We've all been there. Totally. So instead of just saying, stop ruminating, she uses the analogy of changing the record, consciously choosing a different thought or action, even while that old groove is trying to pull you back. It's a simple visual, but it instantly explains thought diffusion, redirection, core stuff for anxiety.
I like that. Simple visual.
Or another one I remember, she uses trying to pick up grains of rice with chopsticks.
Okay.
To explain how difficult but doable making those tiny incremental changes towards a big goal can be. It's fiddly, takes focus, but it works eventually. These real-world, sometimes funny comparisons make the psychology so tangible, memorable.
That makes sense. Very relatable. So that direct style is clearly a major strength. Let's dig into what the book does exceptionally well, what really stands out.
Well, the praise is pretty overwhelming, actually. Reviewers consistently call it brilliant, full of sound, helpful advice, real-life skills.
Yeah, I saw quotes from people like Stephen Bartlett, Diary of a CEO, in the Sunday Times praising it highly.
Exactly. And what comes through again and again is its ability to communicate difficult ideas with ease, simplicity, and practicality. We hear terms like mindfulness or CBT.
Right, they can sound abstract.
Yeah, but Dr. Smith just breaks them down. You read it and you think, okay, that's what that means, and this is how I can actually use it. It's no wonder Jay Shetty was apparently blown away and told people to go and buy it now.
Wow, high praise indeed. And that speaks to its usefulness, right?
Yeah.
The immediate utility.
Definitely. And the feedback also really highlights how relatable, real, and easy to digest it is. Your magazine, Daily Mail, they describe it like your wise best friend is chatting to you.
That's a great description.
Isn't it? Calling it an essential mental health Bible for adults and teenagers. It clearly fosters a personal connection. And people mention specific uses like exploring values, dealing with anxiety. One reader even said it helped them through grief, provided support in a time of need. That tells you something about its impact.
That's powerful. Plus, just on a practical level, the readability gets mentioned a lot. Well laid out, easy to read, those bite-sized chapters, large print, clear writing style.
All those things make it feel less intimidating, right? More inviting. Almost like a comfort read that also happens to teach you valuable stuff.
Yeah. It really does hit home for a lot of people, genuinely becoming that wise best friend reader.
Mm-hmm. But okay, for a balanced deep dive, we do need to look at the other side. Where might it not quite hit the mark for everyone? Because, while most reviews are glowing, there are a few recurring criticisms.
Right, like the pacing. I saw some comments about that. A few readers found it a bit monotonous or basic, chapters being quite short.
Yeah, that comes up. And related to that, sometimes the perception that it's a dumbed-down retelling for people already familiar with therapy concepts, like maybe it doesn't offer much new if you've already done some work in this area.
Do you think that's a fair point?
Yeah.
Given its aim for accessibility?
It's nuanced, isn't it? If you've studied psychology extensively or had years of therapy, sure, some concepts might feel foundational, but I think that criticism kind of misses the main point.
Which is?
That the book isn't trying to be some groundbreaking academic text. Its strength, its genius, really, lies in that very simplicity and accessibility. It's making these vital tools available to the millions who haven't had that prior exposure. What feels basic to one person can be absolutely revolutionary for someone else.
That's a really good perspective.
Yeah.
And interestingly, there were also some criticisms about the actual physical book design.
Yes, that was interesting. One reviewer mentioned too many graphics, drawings, and charts taking up space. They even calculated that the 352-page book should have been 152 because of perceived empty space.
Wow, that's quite specific. A value for money critique almost.
Kind of. Though it's important to balance that by saying most customers do feel it's worth every penny for the content itself. And maybe for some, that spacing and visual style actually contributes to it feeling easy to read and non-intimidating, like we mentioned earlier.
True. Design is subjective. So this leads us nicely into thinking about the ideal reader. Who really benefits most here?
Well, it seems pretty clear. Adults and teenagers. Anyone really who's seeking practical, easy-to-grasp solutions for common mental health issues in their daily lives.
So people feeling overwhelmed, maybe needing concrete strategies they can use right away.
Exactly that. But to clarify who it might not be the best fit for, if you're looking for a really deep academic dive into psychology or maybe very detailed case studies exploring complex theories, this probably isn't your first pick.
It goes for breadth over depth.
Precisely. It covers a wide range of topics accessibly, rather than going super deep on any one thing. Think of it as a fantastic introductory toolkit, not a graduate seminar.
Got it. Okay, I hope you are enjoying the topic so far. Quick reminder, please subscribe to the Deep Seek Diaries and like this video. Don't forget you can find us on the major social media platforms like YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. And remember, linked in the description section are all the resources in discussion today, including books, websites, and so on.
Okay, so we have this toolkit idea. How do people actually use it effectively? The book stresses it's about consistently applied help, right?
Yeah.
Not just a one-off read.
Yeah, exactly. It's not passive. How can listeners really implement these methodologies?
Well, think of it like a mental health gym membership. You get the equipment, the book, the tools, but you actually need to show up and use them consistently.
Makes sense.
The book itself actively encourages engagement. Like in the anxiety sections, it doesn't just describe grounding techniques. It gives you specific prompts for writing, for journaling. It guides you through actual exercises to work things through. It's really about building new mental habits.
And it also digs into things like mindset, perception, and self-beliefs, which sounds crucial for building confidence and resilience. How does she guide readers on that? Can you give an example?
Yeah, she really emphasizes what psychologists call cognitive restructuring. Basically, helping you spot those automatic negative thoughts that just pop up.
Oh, yeah, awesome.
And then actively challenge them. It's not about forcing positivity, but asking useful questions. Is this thought actually true? Is it helpful right now? What's another way to look at this?
So questioning your own narrative.
Exactly. She provides simple frameworks, like a thought record. You literally write down the negative thought, the feeling it sparks, and then you actively search for evidence for it, but also evidence against it. This simple act, just questioning your internal chatter, is a core tool for shifting those self-beliefs and building confidence over time. It requires active mental work, which is why it feels so practical.
That sounds incredibly empowering, giving people real agency to change their own thought patterns. Okay, so now let's talk about what the readers themselves are saying. Over on Amazon, wow, 4.6 out of 5 stars from over 12,000 ratings.
Huge numbers.
And it's a #1 bestseller in emotional self-help. That's a massive endorsement from actual users, isn't it? Often the most honest critics.
It really is. And what's fascinating when you look at the reviews is how consistent the praise is. Themes keep popping up.
Likewise.
People consistently call it insightful, packed with practical advice. It's frequently described as a must-read, and importantly, easy to read and understand.
That accessibility again.
Exactly. Huge appreciation for the honest and relatable content. And many specifically highlight the chapter split. How it's broken down makes it easy to navigate to just what you need.
The quick reference idea we talked about.
Right. The print size, the overall presentation gets good feedback too. And while, yes, there are some mixed views on value for money, the overwhelming majority seem to feel it's worth every penny. Or even, as one put it, worth its weight in gold.
High praise. But it's interesting, even Amazon's own AI summary of the reviews picks up on some of those criticisms we discussed. It notes the monotonous pacing sometimes mentioned, and that idea of it being basic or a dumbed-down retelling.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
How do you square that? The glowing reviews versus these recurring critiques from the same pool of readers.
I think it really just highlights the book's incredibly broad appeal and the fact that different people come to it with different needs and expectations.
Right.
The hugely positive feedback clearly shows its success in reaching a massive audience with tools they find genuinely accessible and desperately needed. The critical feedback, while totally valid from a certain perspective, often seems to come from those seeking that deeper, more academic exploration, which, as we said, isn't really the book's main goal.
So it's a strength and a weakness, depending on who you are.
Kind of. It underscores that its strength is its broad accessibility and simplicity. That might make it feel less groundbreaking for someone already deep into psychology, but that same simplicity is precisely why it's so incredibly valuable for such a vast number of people. It proves making these tools accessible works.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So, wrapping things up then, Dr. Julie Smith's Why Has Nobody Told Me This Before? It really does seem to stand out as a genuinely valuable resource for mental well-being.
Agreed.
It delivers practical, usable advice in a format that's incredibly accessible. It feels like it truly lives up to that promise of being a therapist toolkit for navigating life's emotional stuff. Definitely seems like a highly recommended read for anyone looking to build up their emotional resilience.
Absolutely. And maybe a final thought for our listeners. In this world where we're just flooded with information and mental health insights feel more critical than ever, what untold piece of wisdom about managing your own mind are you still looking for? And how might a simple, accessible toolkit like this one from Dr. Julie Smith be maybe not the whole answer, but perhaps a really reliable compass to help you start finding it?
A great question to ponder. Okay, I hope you have enjoyed today's deep dive here on the DeepSeek Diaries. If this review sparked your interest, remember there's a direct link to the book on Amazon, plus all the other resources we mentioned right down there in the description below.
Your support really does help us keep bringing you these in-depth reviews.
It absolutely does. So if you haven't already, please do hit that subscribe and like button as you head off. Until the next deep dive, goodbye.